Thanks for tuning in for another episode on the K-Van. The last one, if you didn't see it, was rebuilding the carburetor. Now we're going to do some tune-up stuff. Spark plugs, wires, cap, rotor, valve cover, timing belt, water pump. So we're going to be tearing all this apart, showing you guys what needs to be done in order to maintain one of these little tiny K vehicles from Japan. Try and get some of this dustiness out of the way, because the last thing we need is all this crap to fall inside the engine when we take the valve cover off. All right, we're going to take some 10s off. We're going to take this breather tube off. We're going to get to a point, right now is not it, but it's soon, where I'm going to bust my phone out and I'm going to just start taking pictures of how everything looks, especially because there is a chance that I can leave these on and not have to do anything with the vacuum hoses. But if there is, do not touch these vacuum hoses without taking a picture, because it is not going to be fun putting that stuff back together. So I'm going to pull the wires out, and just so you know, Honda was amazing. So back here on the distributor cap, 1, 2, 3, literally in order. 1 is furthest forward, 3 is furthest back, and then your coil back here. So I'm just going to pull those off because it's really easy to figure that one out. Come on, buddy. There we go. Distributor cap off first, because we could probably change this out and then be done with it for. And then is this I'm not sure if that's a vacuum line. It's definitely might be for vacuum advance actually, because it is a carburetor. Just kind of a rather big hose for that. It needs all the vacuum to handle this power. This one is kind of a pain to get to. And yeah, there we go. So with this one, it'll be fun, especially if you do it from the top like I did, because these two are on the bottom. So it worked, but definitely by braille. All right, we got the little cap underneath the rotor that fell off, but not the end of the world. And then we got to turn the engine so we can get to the rotor and unbolt it. The rotor is on there and I can't see a bolt on the new one, so I'm going to take some stuff off and then raise the van and see what it looks like from underneath, because it looks like you just pry it off, but before I go prying on something that I can't just buy a new one with, I'm going to look at it a little bit more. So I wanted to show you, the top ones are like normal Honda bolts. They're kind of captive, right? They just stay in there, and the bottom ones are not. So I got to pick up the other one when we get the van up. She's a snug fit, that's for sure. Well, so much for cleaning the valve cover off, right? Still dust flying everywhere. All right, I'm gonna say that valve cover gasket should be replaced and clean that up. Doesn't look bad, just looks like someone didn't change the oil regularly on this one. All right, we got rotor. Looks like it pries off. All right, I'm gonna try under this plastic thing because you can kind of get to the base of it. There it goes. Pulls off really nicely. Well, and the little thingy was starting to come out. But yeah, definitely need to be replaced. Put this cap back on, even though it just kind of floats there. And then, best part is this only goes on one way. And you just shove it on until it stops. I'm gonna put this one on from under here because I just want to see if it's easier. Get in. The distributor cap is on. Next, we're going to take apart the timing. So it's going to be a little bit of a, I think this is what I do kind of stuff. I'll tell you whether or not I took something off and we don't need to, because I might take off extra stuff just so it's easier. We are doing an oil change, so that should make things a little bit easier here. Oh yeah, that opens up so much more room than what I thought was there. So oil's drained, and I wanted to drain the oil first because this is the dipstick for the oil. So I'm gonna take this out so that I just don't have to even worry about it with the belt covers, because this is also the serpentine belt cover on top of the timing belt cover. There we go. Interesting. It's literally a cover for the crank pulley bolt, but it's that big. Pop that off, push, push, pull, pull, any more? Aha. All right, we have little belt. Oh, it's got a fan. That's interesting. So there's this little cover back here, and I have a feeling, yep. So that's the alternator bolt that holds the base of the alternator. And then over on this side, up in there, is the tensioner. So we're gonna loosen the one bolt way up there. We're gonna loosen that one. It should drop down and we can take this belt off. And we have that cover to take off. So I got that one loose. I got that one loose. Just gonna see, give it a little nudge. There we go. That should be enough. All right. And there you have it, your timing belt. Just kidding. You're like, I don't know if I should be watching this video. All right, so I got the two on the bottom, and there's one up here that's sideways. All right. Getting this one out of here is fun. Just gonna take that up back that way. So the other side of this started to strip. I had to use one of these on there. If you don't have one, you should probably get one. And then I got it to crack, and then this 14 came off really nice. So I'm gonna leave that there. The little plate, I don't know if you saw, but I just kind of shoved it up there because it's not coming out easily. I got the tensioner nut loose. That's loose. That should be loose. Now we're just gonna pivot it back. There we go. All right, next is crank pulley bolt. There we go. There we go. All right, so timing marks, right? So we've got that little notch in there, the little key. Honda usually has the key facing up. However, the engine is slanted because it's that way. So it might go that way, it might go up, but I'm gonna put it up and then pull it off, and then we can take everything off. But we're gonna probably have to move that when we find where the timing marks actually are. I'm gonna drain the coolant now that we have most of that stuff out of the way, so I can also pull the radiator hoses out of the way. There we go. All right, you got me. Beautiful. All right. So now, what's next? Got these covers, that mount. I'm gonna get some wood and support the engine, and then I should be able to take everything off. No! it would. All right, these are 14s. I should be able to take those out. There we go. All right, the mount will come out with the spring in. That's all I needed to see. Unbolting the alternator bracket. This ratchet is a Suzume, right? And so it's a Japanese ratchet. We're working on a Japanese car, and we did a review on these. And I say in the review that I will complain about these when I can complain about these. And I have yet to be able to complain about these. So check out the review and check out Suzume ratchets. This is one of those moments of do as I say, not as I do, because I did it wrong. Or I did it the hard way. So you saw it, I had it way up there and I was using cool little ratchet and all that stuff. And then I was like, wait a minute. And I lowered the engine. I'm like, oh, I could have probably used a gun. Well, you can use a gun. Because with that motor out, or that mount out, you can just lower it and get to it. So I'm gonna grab my gun. Out of the way. And then don't forget that these need to be in a certain spot. So the two long ones went there, the middle one there, and the short one there. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 10s, and then the little tabs you pop off. So we're gonna see if that's it, but I think that's it. Got some, oh, it even says up. We might be, we might be lined up. There's a 10 back there I missed. And then apparently this spacer is just a spacer and not attached to the engine like I thought it was. Now, aha. Our little cot, let's go down. Still close. Come on. There it is. Okay, so we have up, which this side is supposed to be on top and not the bottom. This line and this line, most of the time are even with the base of the head. So we might have to do that. And then over here, so I didn't know this, but the keyway isn't all the way on. It actually is behind this washer, which if you look at the washer, it bows outwards away from the belt, okay? So you don't put it that way where it's tapering towards the belt. It goes away from the belt, okay? But this is actually in front of it. So make sure to pull that off first or it's gonna go flying like it did for me. I'm just looking on here because we have our timing arrow. And so we gotta turn this and try to find out where our timing mark is. Oh, found it. So right there is our pointer arrow, and that's our other pointer arrow. So this, we're gonna turn around, and we might have to do two because it's pointing up on the cam, but that arrow needs to point at that, and then that cam should be pointing up. So I did notice something and it makes a lot of sense, but where the keyway goes is where the arrow is pointing. So we're gonna turn it around so the keyway is pointing that direction, which if you wanna do it from whatever, it's probably like 60 degrees from straight up and down. One more rotation and then this time around, oh yeah, that's cylinder one. Yep. All right. So yes, facing up, arrow is pointing at arrow. This mark is lined up with the head. That mark, it's really hard to see, but I think it is lined up with the head up here too. So So that just popped off of there. Belt's loose. Don't forget the little spring. So these three go together, and then that one went over the bolt because it's got the bigger opening on it. This one went on that side. Belt. And then we're going to take off this lower cover because that's what covers the water pump. And you can actually see some green up top here, which is because of the blue coolant for it, but water pump was definitely leaking on this. Yeah, it's just got to wiggle around that piece up here. There it goes. Come on, buddy. Yep. Yeah, see, it goes around this piece here, which is where the idler pulley goes. So that is a snug fit, and it just has the 110 on this side. Okay, the water pump has all the same size bolts, so don't worry about that. Whew, that was on there. I actually don't know if the water pump failed, if the gasket failed, because it is just crusty around that. And like I said, there's that blue from up top that we had the leak going. So we got the water pump gasket. Don't put RTVs on the, or RTV on this. I will find you and slap you if you put RTV on this. So we're at the reassemble part of the job. So we're going to be putting it back together. I'm going to be torquing stuff. The torque specs are pretty normal for Honda. So if you just look up normal Honda, if you have done timing belts on older Hondas before, it's about the same thing for all of them. We're just going to do kind of like a synopsis of us getting it back together. And then we're going to show you it starting so you know that I did the timing belt right. So that when you do it, you hopefully do the timing belt right. The radiator hoses are back on. All the covers are on, just dipsticks on. We got the belts tight. Motor mount, yeah, I think that's everything. I'm gonna take off the oil filter and change that out because might as well. And then we're gonna lower the car, do what we have to do on top, and then see if it starts. Okay, so I wiped out the valve cover. Slightly cleaner. Needs a lot more thorough of a cleaning, but it'll be fine. It'll probably be better with just doing mini oil changes when they should be done, not like what happened. So these are the bolt grommets. We're going to replace them. Two of them are really easy because they have the tiny bolts on them. The other two aren't really easy. So the easiest way I know to do these is just get the metal cap off of it and then cut this one. That way you don't have to fight with this one, and then you get to fight with the new one. Because of where this is, before pushing it down, I like to give it a reach around and make sure the gasket's in. Because the last thing you want is the gasket to not be in. And remember, it was 3, 2, 1, that way, shortest, medium, long. It's ready to go. I'm gonna pour some oil in it. So I'm gonna show you where to do that because there is no oil cap. So back here on the passenger side of the vehicle, that's not for gas. Earl. Well, it's definitely on the dipstick. It's actually slightly over full. So we'll turn it on and see if 3 quarts is correct. But 3 quarts is a good start. Finishing up a timing belt on one of these means that you have to come over here to the passenger floorboard underneath the glove box, because under here is where the radiator cap is. So that's where you put the coolant in. I'm not going to show you how I do that. We're going to turn it on right now. All right, we got jump box on. Other than the jump box clamps popping off, it sounds great. So that's how you change your timing belt. Best luck with yours.